Okay, we are live now. What's up, guys? So we are back. Me with my newly graduated exercise science
What is up?
bachelor's
Yeah, fresh
friend
grad.
Kevin Hamidi just graduated. Exciting
Feels
things going
good.
on up into the world. Why don't you tell people about your plans?
Yeah, so I literally just graduated today with my bachelor's in exercise science. Whoop whoop. And I will be going on to getting my doctorate in physical therapy now. Starting class in June at Western Michigan. So I'll be exciting 2.5 years there. Um, and I mean, future plans are really just going to be pursuing my DPT and then, hopefully going into clinical practice and doing a business of my own with that. So, and helping more of you guys here with the pain and rehab side of things as well, and merging that with the fitness side. Because I think I want to also have a goal of merging these two sides of the coin together into an all encompassing approach.
They're absolutely go hand in hand, and if you have a nagging pain in your hip, that's going to prevent you from squatting as much and overloading to the best potential. And so, yeah, no, that's super awesome. I'm really happy for Kevin. Undergrad is a pain to get through, but
Yeah,
on to bigger and better things now.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so the topic of this video we kind of want to talk about, since it's summer shredding season, brah, we are going to talk about how to cut, just like the most optimal ways to go about it. So first off, I guess, I mean, you can't talk about cutting without first defining a cut. So basically, cutting is basically a extended period of time with the goal of losing body fat. And I think it's really important to say that of losing body fat instead of just losing weight, because a lot of people think, okay, I just want to lose weight, and like that's fine, like that is a part of the process. But we want to minimize muscle loss and need lean tissue. That will put us in a bad spot physiologically, just overall, and it will make dieting harder because muscle has a higher energy requirement than fat tissue does. And so your body is going to more want to give up that muscle because it eats up a lot more of the oxygen. It's more metabolically expensive. And since your body, when it's a caloric deficit, it doesn't know that like right in front of you, like in your fridge, like you have food, or like you have ready access to food. All it knows is we're not getting enough food, so we're going to have to adapt somehow. This kind of goes all back to the whole idea of homeostasis of uh, we are like physiologically systems are much easier to maintain than they are to change, and our bodies will fight any sort of change to keep a more constant internal environment because our bodies are lazy. Like your body literally just wants to eat, sleep, lay in bed, and reproduce. That's about it. So when you are cutting, it's a controlled starvation essentially, but the main goal, like we said, is to lose body fat while maintaining as much lean tissue as possible and being able to keep that weight off. Kevin, do you have anything to say about that?
No, I think that was really well explained. And, you know, again, the goal here, we want to keep it clear here that the goal is body fat loss and not weight loss. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, it's semantics, you don't really need to worry about that, but it's a lot of people, while yes, we do need to get into a hypocaloric state, aka a calorie deficit, in order to lose either body weight or fat. I think, again, segueing into the next part of this discussion, to make sure that we're losing fat, which is what we want, and not muscle mass, we need to make sure that our calories and our macronutrients are dialed in to the appropriate ratios to make sure that we're not sacrificing our lean muscle tissue during this prolonged period of dieting. So, going into calories and macros wise, this is gonna also really depend on whether, I guess you could say, whether you're more of a lifestyle client or like someone who's kind of just dieting for their life, like, and taking a more long-term approach to this, or someone who's dieting with real high level performance goals, whether that's powerlifting, bodybuilding, or you're just a recreational lifter, but you have very serious strength goals or muscle building goals. So I think in general though, for pretty much all individuals, if we want to go by each macronutrient here, just to keep it really simple, and then we can go into more specifics. um, Definitely protein is obviously going to be our most important macronutrient when it comes to making sure that we're preserving our muscle mass and not sacrificing that. Because again, if we're having less than adequate protein intake, then we're going to be sacrificing our muscle tissue, and you will see the scale weight come down week to week, but that's going to be like half of it being muscle tissue and not the fat mass that we want. So we want to make sure that we're keeping protein fairly high during this hypocaloric period. Um, Currently, we know that we want to get roughly around 1 gram per pound of body weight for protein. That's kind of the sweet spot of where it's advised to be. You can go a little lower than that, and there is research that supports going, as low as like 0.8 grams. But I think just to be on the safe side, and because it's not that big of a difference, I always just recommend 1 gram across the board to pretty much all clients. And the beauty of doing it that way is, one, it keeps it simple and easy to remember. Two, by starting your diet at 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein, as you go through the dieting phase and you're decreasing your body weight because you're losing fat as the weeks go by, and you keep that protein amount constant, it's gonna automatically go from 1 gram per pound to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 as you go down the phases of dieting and you're losing more body fat and you're weighing less. That protein relative to your body weight is going to be at a higher multiplier, which is good because, again, we're just being on the safe side and making sure that we're preserving the muscle mass that you should during this cut. Just to recap, it's advisable to just stay around 1 gram, leave it at that. You don't really need more than that. You can if you'd like to. And again, this goes into the whole preference argument of things. If you just prefer to have more than 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein because it makes you fuller, it makes you more satiated, and you're able to adhere to your diet better, then by all means do that. But we both recommend around 1 gram just because it allows us to have the proper ratios of the other macronutrients as well, which are very important to both hormonal aspects as well as performance. So if you want to go into the other two with fat and carbs and why we care about those and where we should have them at.
Sure. Yeah. So obviously, Kevin kind of just went through a very basic overview of, protein and its importance. For myself, going off of the preference thing, I like doing a little bit higher simply because I like actually higher protein foods. I simply just enjoy it. It's a preference. Plus, I'd rather be on the safe side too, and being just a little bit more safe. For myself personally, what Kevin didn't talk about was, so my approach with the client whenever I get them talking about, okay, I want to cut, I never go into a diet blind. What I mean by that is I always will find their maintenance first. If somebody comes to me and they want to do a contest prep and they don't know what their maintenance is, I say they aren't ready to do a contest prep. You need to figure out what your maintenance is. It's like there's a whole diet before the diet thing that's going into a completely different topic. Mm-hmm. But first, number one is finding your calorie maintenance. The most accurate way to do this is by tracking for a extended period of time, monitoring your body composition and body weight changes. If it's relatively consistent, with normal fluctuations, but around a certain average, that's probably your maintenance. If you don't know your maintenance, there are multiple calculators to look up online. To simplify it, I mean, like I like doing it all by hand just because I feel like I can get a little bit more personal touch with my clients than just doing like a calculator, bam, okay, it spits me out. But go on to the internet, look up total daily energy expenditure calculator, estimate more or less the values that it gives you that you don't know, put in, all of that. And then, and also choose a TDE calculator that has the most amount of information possible to put in. It's generally going to be a little bit more accurate. And then from there, I want to have my client monitor body weight for at least 1 week, preferably 2 weeks. And then if they're gaining, how much they're gaining, how much they're losing, or if they are maintaining, I can make adjustments accordingly, and then basically know where the maintenance is. So I recommend that for most people, because I think the worst thing to do for somebody is I do not want anybody to start their diet too low. I'd rather have them err on a little of the higher side. And maintenance doesn't really waste any time. I feel like it's just a necessary thing to determine your maintenance for pre-diet and then post-diet, so then you can know where to go. You're not just shooting in the dark. Is that, anyways? That's what I would do first. Then Kevin, second, just talk about protein, 1 gram per pound of body weight. That depends on the person, obviously, their preferences, what their goals are, how lean they are, how lean they're trying to get, etc. How much they really care about keeping like their muscle mass. Like, you should care about keeping your muscle mass, but like, if I have a client who's like my mom, for example, and she's just like, I just want to eat enough protein, but like, I don't really care to eat like a ton of protein. Again, for preference, okay, I'll put her around that lower range. But for most people, I don't. It's just so much easier to do 1 gram. Going on to carbs and fats. So research has shown that for people, it doesn't really make a difference in terms of fat loss. There are very minor differences with high carbs versus high fat. There's a slightly higher oxidation of fat with carbohydrate, but I believe the p-value is like less than 5. Like, it's not like 0.05, so it's not statistically significant. So I think let's just talk about lifestyle. If you are doing a cut just to get healthier, just to improve your appearance, you're not super concerned about performance in the gym, you're not into bodybuilding or whatever, I recommend honestly just tracking your calories and your protein. Let the carbs and fats kind of play like how they are. And what I found is that certain people have food preferences anyways, and there's certain macronutrients that they will tend to gravitate towards. So it kind of will, by default, favor either carbs or fat.
Yeah.
So that's very simple. If you are not doing this with the intention of performance goals or incredible physique goals, that is about as complicated as I would get. For you, monitor your scale weight. We'll talk about that soon. And then make adjustments accordingly. But that's about as complicated as you have to get. Because for a lifestyle client, I don't want to put in all these variables I would for like somebody who wants to, do bodybuilding or powerlifting. That just is going to confuse the hell out of them. Like, there's no point. Now going into interesting side of things, I think that is, if you're so a very fast biology lesson. Lifting weights is anaerobic. That means it happens in the presence without oxygen. It happens, so anaerobic metabolism happens through glycolysis. Glycolysis' main fuel source is, or substrate is, glycogen, and that comes from carbohydrates. And so, because weight training is anaerobic, because without oxygen, we are using our glycogen stores heavily. And the higher we can have our glycogen stores, the better chemical messenger balances are going to be with anabolic versus catabolic chemical messengers. The better our performance is going to be in the gym, as we'll have more fuel to work with. Because it's like always, it's the most frustrating thing. Like, even though like if you are in a calorie deficit, you will experience like the holy crap, I felt fine. How could I not get that 7th rep? That 6th rep was totally fine. That's generally because you're more depleted of your glycogen, of your substrates. So I would keep carbohydrates as high as possible. For fat is my main concern with fat in a client's diet is just we want to keep hormones fine. I will never drop a client's fat below 0.3 grams per pound of body weight. And I will generally prefer to keep it within 0.3 to 0.4 grams. Now it's really hard to go like super low fat too. It's because like we have to eat like strawberries and like rice cakes and like really, really boring. And like, that's also just really hard to just stick to long term, and adherence is key with a deficit, especially cut, because again, this is a long-term thing, and we want to keep the weight off after. So if you are trying to maintain your strength levels, if you are trying to maintain as much performance in the gym, have as good workouts as you possibly can, keep your carbs high and keep your fat within the 0.3 to 0.4 range. Don't go below 0.3. By that point, you'll have hormonal problems, and then that's just going to make fat loss even harder. Kevin, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I think that that was a great explanation. I think that really segues well now. Touching on the performance side of it, we can segue now into the
Timing.
importance of so the importance of timing. And now, generally speaking, like if we were scrapping this whole cutting our conversation, and we were just generally speaking, timing is not very important. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this, that you can, for most of your results, probably 80 to 85% of your results, you can get away with having your macros and calories within any given amount of time during the day, and you'll get probably 80 to 85% of your results, maybe even slightly more. However, when we're in this cut, it's very beneficial to be more mindful of your timing around these macronutrients in order to just keep your performance in the gym, which aside from strength is also going to help maintain your muscle if you're able to maintain that volume and that performance in the gym. So we need to focus on what's called our peri-workout nutrition. So what you're eating before, optionally during, and after your workout to optimize to the best we can your substrate efficiency and utilization during that workout period of time, before, during, and after. So let's go into like the nitty gritty of like what you should actually be doing during those phases. So before your workout, what you should be eating. Primarily, you should be focusing on having a pretty good balance between between protein and carbs, no fat preferably, because if you're having fat in that pre-workout meal, you're just going to you're going to slow down digestion. And the last thing we want is for you to slow down digestion, not allow those carbs to be fast acting and go into your glycogen stores to be utilized during the workout. And the last thing we want is for most of your musculoskeletal blood flow to be concentrated to digesting food during the workout when we're supposed to be supplying muscle contraction, which is not what we want. So
I generally try to keep under 10. That's what I advise for most people. It's really, really hard to have like a protein source, especially, and have no fat. Also, it's probably just going to taste like shit.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like 10 grams max. Like I usually try to aim around like 5 grams or so of fat in my pre-workout meal. 10 is kind of the max I'd say you want to limit it at. And again, play around with how you feel during it. You might feel that 10 might be a little too much for you still, and you might have to go lower than that. Just
Yeah, so kind of going around with that. I had a time I was like, man, why am I so bloated? And I was like, okay, I'm having like 20 grams of fat pre-workout. That's definitely why. Also, I've also found that for myself, if I have too much protein, I have a harder time with my workouts too. I try to keep around 30 to 40 grams maximum, more around 30.
yeah.
My coach Jared Feather advises me to have a 3 to 4, preferably a 4 to 1 ratio of carbohydrates to protein pre-workout. So for me, that looks like very simply, I get 3 grams of protein, 120 grams of carbs, to keep fat as low as possible. Bam. Okay, I'm going to be good. If you're in the cut, I would say you have lower calories. If your macronutrients do allow you to have that, I would do 4 to 1, but at least do 3 to 1.
Yeah.
Like,
And what I will say is what you'll notice when we continue on with this discussion of peri-workout nutrition is that the main consensus here is that carbs are your friend, and you should be biasing them around your workout, and most of your carbs that you're eating during the day are going to go around your workout. Like that's kind of like if we were to simplify this into like one sentence for this one specific conversation of peri-workout nutrition, it's eat your carbs around your workout. and that's basically it. But if to go into specifics, like now that we talked about pre-workout nutrition, now this is optional with your intra-workout nutrition, what you're eating or consuming, I guess, during your workout. You don't have to do this, especially if your calories are low enough where it just doesn't make sense to, because you don't want to use up your calories all during your pre, intra, and
Something
post
that's
workout.
not like that satiating at all. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's for
It's
a
literally
lot of
just for quick
people, it's not.
energy. It is the dead definition of empty calories.
Yeah. It's so, I mean, if you want to, if you have the calories and you want to play around with it, and I do find it beneficial personally, is to have at least 10 grams, if not 10 to 20 grams of carbohydrates during that intra workout period during your workout. I don't know about Adam, but
I
I
would I would
prefer,
I would err towards 35.
yeah, I usually just give the 10 to 20 because even though it's not as much, and obviously we might not get the full benefit out of it, most people just don't want to spend all their calories during that
Yeah, but
time.
like my thing too, though, Kevin, is if somebody's going to do it, I want them to actually do it and actually get actually get something that's like noticeable. Because I don't want to have somebody just do like, okay, here's 20 grams of carbs. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any help. Well, keep doing it because it's going to help. Like no, like I think that's too bad. I'd rather have it be 35 grams or something, or something higher.
Yeah.
That's just going to be better.
And then you can also play around with adding in some sort of like whey protein isolate or something in like a shake if you
I,
wanted to.
for that, I would recommend it if you're going more than like 4 hours between
Yeah.
like your last feeding. So if you're working out fasted in the morning, like after like you ate using like your breakfast, like your bedtime meal or whatever, as like a pre-workout meal, which is also another option too if you do wake up like that, if it's your lifestyle. Definitely have a peri-workout protein shake.
Yeah,
Definitely,
for
absolutely.
sure.
Do not, like 20 to 40 grams. Bam. Like carbs if you want, but definitely get that protein. Now, when you're eating, through the workout later in the day, you probably have some protein in that meal before. Then you don't really need to, because protein, as long as you're having kings every 4 hours or so, you're
Yeah,
basically good.
yeah, you're
But if you're fasting all night, you're sleeping for 8 hours. Get that protein in. Is when
yeah,
you're performing a catabolic activity.
yeah. Get that protein in, and especially if you're training fast too, like we briefly mentioned, carb backload the day before. Have a lot of your calories near the end of the day before bed. That way, when you wake up, a lot of the amino acids and the glycogen are still in your system assimilating, so you're better able to use that
And
energy.
that's due to the parasympathetic nervous system's regulation of sleep, where it kind of chills and digestion is slowed down anyway at
Hmm.
night.
Yeah.
Your body is more focused on sleeping and resting.
Exactly. So now that we got that covered, let's go into last but not least your post-workout nutrition. Just most people, I think, intuitively know what to do with this. Again, it's going to be very similar to a pre-workout meal. You want to bias protein and carbs, minimal fat. Again, I try to keep it around 10 grams or less, preferably, um, for the same purpose that we just discussed in our pre-workout nutrition, where you want the nutrients to go back to your muscles. And um, so, in talking about post workout and the timing wise of it, like it's not going to matter as much if you've already had a meal beforehand. So, if you've already had a pre workout meal, like we talked about, and you've had adequate carbs and protein in it, your post workout timing is not going to matter as much because there's no anabolic window or anything like that. There's no like time period that you have to get this in at. Like optimally speaking, you really don't either. Like as long as it's within, I'd say a maximum, like a max of like a 4 hour window post, you're fine. But preferably, I like to air near
Too.
more like 2 hours
I do
max.
I do I do 2 hours max.
Yeah, same here. I try to get it between 1 to 2 hours post workout at the maximum.
I
Just
think that the consensus too is that the closer the better.
yeah, for sure. Like we don't mean that you have to get out, finish your last set of bench, and immediately go to your
Ah,
workout.
perfect.
But
Gains. You must stop catabolism.
Which I'm sure half of us have probably been guilty of before when we started training, but you do not have to do that. Just, chill, get home, cook up your meal or whatever you're doing. You'll be fine.
Go
Just
say hi
don't,
to your mom.
yeah. Just don't, if you
But then
work
say,
out,
hey mom, I gotta go because gains.
yeah.
Or
If it,
hey mom, cook me a chicken breast.
just make sure if you just finished your lift at 1 p.m., don't wait until like 6 or later to have
Who
your meal.
does that? Dude, after my workout, I'm like, I wanna eat.
I don't know. I know some. I've had clients before who they're not listening to this, but I've had clients before that they've waited like a considerable amount of time, and I'm like checking in on them, and then they're like, yeah, so it's been like 8 hours, and I just haven't. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you not hungry? But I don't know.
I don't know. That's weird.
But
Don't
yeah,
do that.
don't do that. But anyways, that is essentially what you should be focusing on for your
Also,
peri-workout.
your highest amount of protein should be post workout.
Agreed. Yeah. And it's also best if you, so like Adam alluded to earlier, going and getting into the whole timing thing again. um if you wanted to really optimize things, it's definitely beneficial to have evenly spaced protein feedings throughout your day. So you had 20 to 40 grams in your pre-workout meal, possibly some in your intra, but most likely not, and then like 40 grams in your post, and then you have like another 20 to 40 grams at two other time points of your day. And if you have at least three, preferably around like four evenly spaced protein feedings during the day, between 20 to 40 grams, depending on how much protein you need and what your body weight is. That is going to
Also, just
optimize muscle.
lifestyle, how much you can
Yeah,
actually eat.
yeah. That's going to maximize a muscle protein synthesis throughout the
So
day.
I know that I've had jobs that were like I were working for 8 hours. I would get like one break and be like 10 minutes,
Yeah,
which is nuts. But like that's the part-time job like the jobs will do to you, which
yeah.
is it. Which by the way, it's illegal, but they still do it.
And I'm not saying that you have to spread your protein out like this or no gains, but
But you're going to get more gains,
yeah, it
and
might
it is statistically significant.
yeah, it might account for like just hitting your protein will account for like 80% of things. Hitting your protein with a minimum of two
Well, that's
protein
the whole thing
feedings.
with like timing. Like, can you get great results without prioritizing timing? Yeah. If you want to get phenomenal results, if you want to really even gain some strength during your cut,
Yeah,
you need to have all these things in
yeah,
place.
you need to be
Timing is
checking all these
so when
boxes.
people say it triggers me every single time. I know Kevin that does you too. Meal timing doesn't matter. I'm like, it 100% matters. You try not eating all day. Tell me how much meal timing doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It matters for adherence, like especially in terms of meal frequency. Let's just talk about this right now. Your meal frequency during a cut should be around 3 meals per
minimum.
day,
Yeah,
minimum. And that's because the research has shown that that's about most satiating meal frequency. Above that, there's really not like a ton, but like sometimes it's hard to not like eat as much. Let's like for example, myself when I'm like in the mornings, I don't really feel like eating that much food. So like I'm not going to have I'm not going to have like a small 500-calorie meal and then have like 1,000-calorie pre-workout meal, 1,000-calorie post-workout meal. Like that's going to set you up for terrible workout.
yeah,
Two, I'm probably going to be pretty grouchy
yeah,
just because I get really hungry. Like I've had some cuts where I've done the whole intermittent fasting and we're like, I'm gonna bank on like calories till like late night, and I'm just miserable. I can't get through work. Like when I have
mm-hmm.
work, I can't do school. I can't be a good student.
Mm-hmm.
So like your cut, especially if this is not your job, which for 99% of people, this is not your job. You're not paid to be a professional bodybuilder. So this should all go around your lifestyle and it should all fit into it. And so we're talking in the role of optimalities right now. So I would do is I would, from this information, examine your lifestyle. Say, what can I take away from this? Like, what are the practicalities for me? Because it doesn't matter. Like, if we're telling you all this stuff, like you can't do it. Like, for example, like when I'm in school, I can't necessarily like eat like all the time because like I have like a 3 hour lab, or I have some research to do, or I have to work with a sports team for 4 or 5 hours. I can't just like be like, okay, here's chicken and broccoli, bye guys. Okay, oh, one of you is hurt. Wait a minute. I gotta get my protein feeding. Like, no, like that's like not it. So like that is something I really want to stress. Do not make your life hell trying to make all this shit optimal when when 80% of your results are going to be just by doing the basics.
Yep.
Like this 20% stuff that we're talking about right now, it matters still. It's still part of the 100%, but you're missing. We're talking about the trees. The forest is find what meal frequency works best for you. Take what we are saying and say again. I want to say this again because just people don't understand this. See what works for you. Okay, because I could say, oh well, this is optimal. Like I get DMs like intermittent fasting is bad. Intermittent fasting is. I'm like, no, I never said that. I said it's suboptimal for your goals. Can you show 80% of your results by not fasting? Yeah, sure. But like if let's say you're a advanced lifter, you're trying to get stronger, you're trying to like get bigger. You need to pay attention to the extra 20% too. First 5 years of training, 80% is going to be fine.
Yep.
Or like
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, I could just rant on and on about
No,
practicalities versus optimalities, but
yeah, and like what's optimal is gonna like we can talk about what's optimal with the research and everything, but taking it to you guys, like it's gonna be what optimality is what's optimal for you in your life and what fits your lifestyle.
like
Like,
let's use both of us for example, because this is I get asked all the time, how do you eat? How do you structure your day? Like, well, whatever. For myself, I don't wait longer than an hour after I wake up because I like having something to eat. It's how I am. I want to start that anabolic window. It's not much. It's probably like when I'm in school, it's a protein bar. Even still right now, it's a protein bar. Um, and then I kind of would have about 4 to 5 protein feedings per day, depending on training and how long it's taking me. I have intra-workout because I care about that. Even the 1% boost it will give me with the rest of my workout. And then everything else, I just kind of just let it with my work schedule because I have clients to respond to. Working a part-time job, I go around that and I eat like when I can, and then I don't worry about it.
yeah, I'm essentially the same way. I'll wake up and I'll usually have like within the hour. Usually I'll wait about an hour and then I'll have my first protein feeding. My so breakfast will be probably around like 500 calories or so of like some carbs, some protein, just because that's what I prefer in the morning. Go to class, do all that, lift, have my intro workout shake, post workout, another dose of protein, like 40 grams at least. And then by the end of the day, I've probably done my typical day will usually have like 3 to 4 protein feedings just because that's what works with me and my schedule. On the rare occasion, it might end up at 5 if like I'm slamming down like a protein bar in between classes or something. But in
Because you're
general,
dying and school's crap.
yeah, essentially. But in general, it's like 3 to 4 protein feedings during the day, evenly spaced macronutrients during the day. I mean, I keep it very simple, and I eat basically like the same things almost like every single day for the most part, especially when I'm dieting. Just because keeping it simple really helps for me, and I know for a lot of the clients I'll work with, and probably you've worked with as well, that just keeping things simple every single day it
But
just
I
helps adherence so much.
I want to talk about IIFYM right now and how to actually incorporate that effectively. So if it fits your macros / flexible dieting is what we will always recommend to our clients. This research has shown that non-restrictive, the less restrictive that your diet is, the more able you're able to adhere to it. So let's say you're like basically the whole principle of flexible dieting is eat whatever you want as long as you fit your macros. So there's a little bit of caveats with that, and something that we always recommend is get 80% of your food from whole food sources. What are whole food sources? What does your mom want you to eat? That's basically it. Everybody knows what whole food sources are, and if I say that, and 20% is like what you want to eat when you're a kid. Your inner fatty. So like fit that, like that's basically it. With clients, I try to have them, regardless of the state, just because I feel like it simplifies everything for lifestyle and just not having to think about food, because like nutrition can be kind of a hassle. Like even if I'll say, it's definitely a hassle for me. If I had to think of, man, I have to eat something different every single day, I would lose my mind. So I try to have to find what foods do you like, what foods work for you, what foods keep you full, what foods help you hit your macros, and what foods may make you sane, and then basically have like a structure. There's more or less I'll eat more or less the same thing. I'm flexible with it. Like if I want something else, then yeah, sure, that's fine. I'll just count for it somewhere else. But I always have a very similar structure. I feel like this is good for multiple reasons. Psychological adherence, the less time you're thinking about food. That's key when you're dieting. I feel like it's very easy to track changes in body water, how you're looking in the mirror, the more consistent that you are with your food intake, and then allowing for this flexibility, where if you want a cookie and if you can control that intake of it, go ahead and have that. If it's worth it to you, and you've had like all your fruits and vegetables and healthy whole foods, and that's fine. I see an over application of IIFYM where people think it's a contest to more flexible dieting. It's a contest to see how much protein powder and pop tarts can I fit into my macros. Newsflash, you're going to feel like crap. Micronutrients are extremely important. You're going to have cravings really bad. You're not going to feel satisfied. You're just going to be really hungry. So don't be that person that tries to say, hey, this is as much junk food as I can see. Like, I'm going to call it Kino Body right now for making people believe that, where you can eat whatever you want. Like Kevin and I were like I think Kevin's still in the Facebook group, but like literally people in that will like fast all day, eat one meal of like pizza and brownies, and that's what they have.
Yeah, no, it's literally like, guys, I just fasted 23 hours, so now I can have this like giant In-N-Out meal. Like, it's
they're probably hungry after.
probably.
They're probably like, crap, that didn't work.
But they slam, like they literally slam like 2 to 3K calories in like one sitting and call it a day.
I think that's just borderline eating disorder too. Not
Really
right way to think about food. Starving yourself so you can eat like a child and neglect your health.
And again, we're not saying intermittent fasting is bad, so please
we're not no.
take it this way, because I know there's going to be some people that are going to still come out thinking that.
No,
but we are not saying that. We are just saying that you need to look at all sides of this, and you need to look at, ask yourself what is going to make the most sense to you, and what are you going to like doing the most. And if that's intermittent fasting, great. If not, don't worry about it.
There's no magic with intermittent fasting. The only magic of it is if it can help adherence.
Yeah.
However, I swear to God, it doesn't work for most people. Like, I'll be straight up. Like intermittent fasting increases cortisol levels, like the stress levels in your body. So like, if you're a busy person and like you're going without food and like you're stressed out at work, like, I'm sorry, but like once it comes to like eating, to like actually eating, you're gonna just have a harder time keeping in check with those hunger hormones. Like, I was going on with meal timing. I recommend eat when you get hungry while controlling your calories before you get ravenous. Yeah. Because when you get ravenous, just everything goes to hell. Like you can eat everything, and because at that point you're psychologically going to be disconnected from the experience of food. when you're eating, sit down, make your food, and pay attention to the food that you're eating. Eat it slow, actually enjoy it. Don't just inhale it. And then use these hunger management strategies with meal timing as one of them to help out. So flexible dieting is great. We recommend it. Just don't abuse it.
Yeah.
Be smart about it.
Do it the way it was intended to be used when it was first created, which is the 80-20 or 90-10 rule, like we said.
There are no bad foods. There are no bad foods. Your small intestine does not have a conscience. Calories, those calories, it doesn't know that chocolate bar that you have was a chocolate bar. It's like, oh shit, that carbs. Oh, this is legit, man. Let's use this. It's not like, oh my gosh, so he just ate a Snickers, and Becky is so judging her. Let's put on fat. Like, no, it doesn't do. Your small intestine is not doing that. And so your digestive system is just like, okay, protein, carbs, fat, calories, sick broth. We'll use this as we need.
Yeah, the only difference is just there are more nutrient dense foods and less nutrient dense foods.
Exactly.
That is it.
The difference between your Skittles and your strawberries is vitamin A, vitamin C. Hooray!
Yeah. So don't confuse this for us saying, oh, Kevin and Adam just said that instead of eating an apple and banana, I can have a Pop-Tart instead. No, we're just saying.
We said you can,
you
but
can,
like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah. But should you? Probably not.
Because this is what I always say when if someone's going to go and have one of those diets. One, is this actually worth it to me? Does this actually taste good? Do I actually really want this? Because if you're in a calorie restricted state, you better be eating food that like you actually mostly want, like you're going to fit in something like that. Two, could I control this myself? If I get started on donuts, there's no way in hell I'm stopping at one. I'm going to eat 3, 6, and it just doubles until I die.
Yeah, eventually just get the whole dozen. There you go.
And then I'm like, okay, I want more, and then go back, and this is like game over. And then I cover all my bases with my nutrition. If you haven't gotten your fruit in, and you're going to have that bread, what are you doing?
Unless
you're fucking fruit.
Unless you're Mike.
Unless you're Mike. Mike's secretly a duck. And Mike is her tail.
Yeah, you've heard us.
But he still has his. But what he still has is apples with his bread.
Yeah, no, he does. Yeah, so it's balanced. It's balanced.
Yep.
That's what matters.
So yeah. Anyways, I think we beat this horse to death. I think people get it. If you guys want to know more about flexible dieting and how to properly implement it, that's not this episode. Go look up Lane Norton. Flexible dieting.
Okay, so I think we've got pretty much the basics, at least, of this nutritional aspect covered. So let's dive into the training side of it and go down that rabbit hole real quick.
I would like to start with this. That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Based on experience, my previous experience with this cut. On this last cut, so my first cut I ran, I maintained my strength about. I was about like a very short mini cut, like 3 weeks, and then I started bulking again. But this last one, I was kind of long, and I unintentionally went out. I more or less kept my strength for most of it, but then like towards the end, I lost a lot of it. And so into this next cut, I really wanted to say, I don't want that to happen again. What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again? On this cut, I was able to set all-time PRs. I squatted 415 pounds. I benched 230 pounds. And I deadlifted 635 pounds in a calorie deficit. Natural. Okay, it can be done. A lot of people think, okay, as soon as there's 2 elements to this. I think the biggest one with cutting and training is your psychology. Because when you know that you're in the deficit and you know that you're tired and you know that this workout's going to suck, it's going to be really hard. You're just going to be like, in general, you just don't feel as great. You still have to train hard. You still have to provide that stimulus for the muscle mass to stay. And if you want to get stronger, you have to train even harder. Like my intensity during my cutting clean workouts, if anything, it's higher. Just like all my compounds. at least, everything else. I'm like, oh, I'll just go for volume. Like if you really want your compounds to go, you have to have your intensity. So first off, don't nocebo yourself into thinking that you're weak and that you're screwed to losing all your strength. That's not true. Kevin has had PRs too on his cut.
Yeah, I've made PRs on my cut. I've kept my strength and improved it. Like you don't, and I've done that successfully pretty much every single cut. Like you don't, like you said, I think the biggest thing is people immediately start their cut and be like, oh, yep, time to lose strength, because everyone always talks about
And
losing strength.
then they stop training.
Yeah.
And then they stop training. And then they're like, where the hell did my strength go? And I'm like, stop training.
And I think the thing here, and not to get, I'm not trying to get all woo on you guys here, but I think the thing here is that, what you tell yourself, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if you go in, and I know this whole social media thing, everyone always talks about losing strength on the cut, it's going to happen. And you go into it and you tell yourself, yep, I'm going to be just like everyone else on social media, and I'm going to lose strength on this cut. It's going to fucking happen. Like, it just is going to happen. So don't go into it with that mindset, flip that around. Yes, it's cheesy, but have some positive self-talk and actually go into it optimistic that you are going to make progress. And I promise you that you most likely will make progress if you just flip that script just that little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's all there really is to it. And I think that's the biggest thing. But aside from that, there are little practical things that go into this on the training side of it that we can manage and properly program to make sure that you don't lose strength and that you maintain your muscle mass and you maintain your strength as you go through the cut. So again,
first off,
yeah, go ahead.
How should your training style be? I've gotten a lot of kickback on this, but motherfuckers, this is how you train during a cut. Okay, don't do a strength base. Don't do 1 to 6 reps. Do not do mostly that. Okay, that is neurologically demanding. That is not muscularly demanding. That is like maintenance volume on a bulk or on maintenance calories. Okay, when you are cutting, you want to provide the most stimulus to your muscular system as you possibly can. So do hypertrophy mesocycle. Focus in that higher rep range, 7 to 15 predominantly.
Mm-hmm.
Train like that for the entirety of your cut. That's going to not only spare muscle mass, it's going to actually burn a little bit more calories. That doesn't matter. And then you're also going to look fuller during your cut, feel a lot better about yourself when you're in the gym, probably have a better relationship, because also your joint integrity during a cut is not going to be great. It's not going to be optimal. So you're at a higher risk of injury by trying to 1 rep max, by trying to do all these singles and these triples and these 5 reps. So do these higher reps, and you're going to be much better off.
Yeah. And I'll add the caveat that if you are a more experienced trainee, so you've been at this for at least a year, if not longer, you can, and I would do this more so during the beginning stages of the cut in the middle.
When you actually have that joint integrity.
Yeah, you can play around with sub-maximal singles, so RPE 7 and 8, before you go into your volume work for the rest of your workout. What this is going to do is help you to maintain neurological efficiency with your compound movements.
Just that skill, though. But I want to make it very, very clear that that's not gone.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
if you choose not to do that, you still have that skill. It doesn't mean that it's gone.
Yeah,
it just means that you're less able to express it.
For sure. And I wouldn't even though I'm saying you can do this, I wouldn't even program that.
I wouldn't do it.
The full, especially not the full,
the fatigue generated from even a submaximal single. It's going to play into that volume that actually counts. So
yeah,
don't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly,
I will program it in for power lifters who are I wrote 2 custom programs recently for power lifters who are oh, I'm maintaining my strength. I'm doing a mini cut. Okay, cool. This is a mini cut. That's fine. If they're going to do a long-term cut, I would take it out and just say, no, we're going to do this. This is better.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm very passionate about this training side of things.
No, it's all good. So yeah, and I think the big thing here too is like, again, you want to be training in the hypertrophy style of training. By that we mean upper rep ranges, upper like sets. But I think the key thing here too is that a lot of people go into the cut thinking they need to drastically change their training from what they were doing previously, and that's a big no-no. You do not want to do that. You do not want to be like, oh no, I'm gonna cut now. Let's cut my volume in half, and let's cut my sets.
Aesthetics, Mariah.
Let's cut my sets in half, and let's reduce the intensity, and let's train in the 10 to 20 rep range
Let's
predominantly
get
with
soft and then
athletes
wonder
in the
why we
sport.
lost muscle and strength.
Yeah, you're training. Like when people ask me, Kevin, I'm going into a cut, how should I change my training? My answer is don't. Like just plain and simple, don't.
Just fool you, play yourself.
Like you, like especially when you first start to cut, there is literally, it's not like going from eating 3,000 calories to 2,500 does not
Alarm
automatically
bells, starvation.
does not automatically mean your recovery is so impaired that you need to cut off all this volume and intensity.
The
Like
more
you,
like, especially if you're just doing an acute diet, like if you're doing like 3 weeks of dieting, or well, if you're losing strength during like 4 weeks of dieting, you were like really messing something up,
yeah,
like really bad.
you ran an aggressive mini cut and we're still able to
I lost 20 pounds in 3 months,
yeah.
and I was already lean. I was already lean. So, like, if somebody is starting from 50% and cutting down to 12% body fat in a month, and you lost strength, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So with training volumes, and so we want to keep it as similarly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that is true. However, we also need to understand that because we are in a more catabolic state, because that's what is necessary for those viewers at home that don't know what catabolic means, just as breakdown, losing gains. Think about like that. Um, you don't you want to have you need to have a higher stimulus for the muscle mass to stay. So your maintenance volume, which is basically how much you need to maintain your gains, maintain your size, it's going to be higher. And it's not that much. It's going to be like maybe like 2 or 3 sets,
Yep.
but it will be higher than you if you were massing or if you were maintaining. And on the flip side of that, because you don't have the same recovery capacity, maximum recoverable volumes and maximum adaptive volumes will be lower, which is why you need to deload more frequently on a cut.
Yep.
I would recommend every 4 to 5 weeks on a cut.
Yep.
Absolutely, do not go more than that. Like on the massing or like maintenance days, like I can go like 6 weeks, but then like after that, it's like I still so like again, this is a very slight and nuanced difference. But if you were cutting to the higher, so I think let's simplify what we kind of ran about. So keep your training as similar as possible. Keep a good mindset that you're going to train hard and you are not going to lose strength. You're going to do everything in your power to not lose that. You're going to optimize your peri and pre-workout nutrition to make sure that it does not happen. You are going to keep training as similar as possible to your training. You are going to understand and increase volume by probably about 2 sets when you start out your mesocycle,
Mm-hmm.
and then have a quicker deload paradigm.
Yep.
When you are, as a result of that, because you're starting higher, you're closer to maximum recoverable volumes.
Yep. I think that's pretty much everything you need to take into account when it comes to what you should be doing with your training. Not much else is going to change, and like you just summed up, I
And
think
how
that was perfect.
and if you gain strength on your cut, you're in the minority.
Yeah, consider it a
Let's
bonus.
be honest, it's a bonus, but like I believe the reason why I was able to was because I was so potentiated going into my cut.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that like I knew I could run like a peaking phase for like a few weeks, and I was fine with that. I was originally only planning to do like a mini cut for like 4 weeks, but it accidentally turned into a longer cut. I imagine that happens to me quite a bit, and quite tragic. But like that's what happened to me, and I basically was so well potentiated. My pre-workout nutrition was on point. It was the first few weeks of the deficit, so that's when I set all of those PRs. If you told me right now, I don't know, at the end of 13 weeks of dieting, go in there and deadlift 635 pounds after I have not done a single in like forever, and I've been working on volume, I'd be like, yeah, no way. I'd be happy if I got 600.
But yeah, I think most of you,
That's basically it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think most of you guys watching, you will be able to improve your strength if you check
Especially
off all
as a
these
beginner too.
boxes. Yeah, yeah, especially
Like
if you're starting.
a lot of like these strength losses, I feel like should only happen in like advanced individuals. Like
Yeah,
if
like
like if anything, if you're a noob, you should still be relatively untrained to the point where you can still be making gains rather linearly, regardless of your caloric state.
agreed, agreed. And again, just if you want to optimize all these things, like if you're not in that beginner category and you're more in the intermediate, maybe even advanced category, if you're watching this, um, you can still gain strength. Just make sure that you're checking off all these boxes that we've covered thus far. And if you're checking all those boxes off, again, these are boxes of optimality, not what you need to be doing, but this is what's going to allow you to make that bonus progress, if you will, that most don't end up making because they're not checking off these boxes of optimality and really doing everything they can. My kind of thought process is like, if you can do all these things, or at least some of these things, and it's not really that much of a detriment to your lifestyle, why not? Like, why are you not doing these things if you can and you're able to? Like, you're just hampering your gains for no reason.
You're making it harder,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
totally. Um, Sleep very fast on a cut. The same thing as usual, even more important though for your
yeah.
hormonal balance for the optimal environment. I was really struggling with sleep for a lot of my cut,
Same here. Yeah.
and that definitely hampered progress. My threw my body water all off. I was getting visibly leaner, but the scale wasn't going down. Also, stress was high just because of school. So make sure that you're prioritizing your sleep. 7 to 9 hours a night. Make sure that you're managing your stress levels. So, you don't have any stress. Training in of itself is a stress. Just make sure that you're managing it. You're taking your chill time when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Taking those active recovery strategies. Take your rest days.
Yeah.
Those are absolutely important. Um,
And wrapping back to sleep, I know at least someone's gonna ask, how do I get better sleep? Because everyone knows they need better sleep. Like, regardless,
everybody,
everyone knows that. But the difficulty comes with how you get better sleep. And we're not gonna go into this whole thing. We're not gonna go make this
wormhole.
podcast about sleep, but real short, a little checklist of things that you could do to make sure that you can get better sleep. One, try to make sure that you're going to bed and waking up at the same time most days of the week. Just because your body, it helps to have your body get into that rhythm of being consistent with a staple bed and wake time, give or take 1 hour each day. Two, make sure that your room is set at a good temperature to promote better sleep. So I know literature shows like somewhere between 67 degrees to like 72 degrees seems to be like a good sweet spot for where you want your room to be. Make sure your room is completely dark. Don't have any light coming into the room. Get off electronics, preferably if you can, 30 minutes to 1 hour before you get to bed. Pick up a book or something, read, learn, do something other than watching this podcast or whatever you're doing before sleep.
Or you could
Don't
listen to
do
us, but just turn off the,
Yeah, yeah, or just listen to us. Just
or
flip your
just
phone
turn
over,
on the
whatever.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Fall
making
asleep
sure
to
to do that.
Kevin's voice. Oh,
Yeah. And
every
then
girl's dream.
and, and then also going along with the temperature thing, it can also benefit you to raise your internal core body temperature by taking a warm bath or warm shower. That way
Keeping your
when you
socks on can also help.
yeah, keeping your socks on apparently
I've been
can
doing
also
that and it helps. I actually I can say I have noticed a little bit of a difference.
yeah, I've heard that too. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard good
It
things
feels weird
about
at first, but then you're like, hey, this is
it.
normal.
And I think that just has to do with, again, like the core internal body temperature again and helping to regulate that. But yeah, just a little checklist of things that you can do just to help promote better sleep, better quality sleep for those 7 to 9 hours that you're in bed. And that's definitely going to be like the basis for everything. Like if you're not getting your sleep in check, like all these other things that we talked
Sleep
about,
is the
they're not going to
foundation for your nutrition, for your training, for
yeah,
everything.
yeah, it's the basis of pretty much every
If
thing
you do not sleep,
happening in your
you will
body.
die.
Yeah, literally.
Literally,
Literally,
everything
yeah.
will shut off. You'll die. Um, okay, that's basically. Last thing I want to talk about is refeeds, the overimportance of people, the bastardization of refeeds. First off,
Oh,
Kevin, please passionately rant about this.
yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start with what
Oh
most
man, it's
people
going. He's.
I guess I'll start with what most people will know about refeeds because I know the primary audience watching this will probably have heard of refeeds before and they'll know what they are from many different influencers talking about them. So refeeds, as
Kevin, it
many
was
of you,
magic.
yeah, as many of you may or may not know, is just simply increasing calories, primarily carbohydrates. Typically, what you'll see during a day or multi-day time span, where the goal, as some put it, is to help get you into a state where you're gonna lose more fat because you're up-regulating your hormones again and everything's going back the way it should be, and boom, you lose fat. um, the way most people do this, I don't necessarily agree with, just because when you look into the research, most people do refeeds, they'll prescribe them in like 1 day or 2 day time spans at most. And I'm not going to say they're useless because they do have a benefit psychology wise, but physiologically, the research shows that a 24 to 48-hour period is not enough time to establish any physiological differences that are going to enable you to lose fat or more fat in this case. But you can utilize 1 or 2 day refeeds if you need a little mental break. And that itself can help things just with cortisol and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Not
not
going to lose
primary.
the body fat. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's for body fat, and all of a sudden I lost like 5 pounds overnight. Well, that's because your body relaxed and like because like if you could lose body fat by like eating more, we all would eat more. If we've been never diet, all refeed has a possibility of doing is dropping that diet fatigue,
Yep.
And letting the water weight go and expressing your hard work.
Exactly. So what I prefer to do instead, and you can chime in after if you do things a little differently, but what I prefer to do is I'll do at least a 1 week diet break, and I'll usually have this with some clients pre-programmed in sometimes, depending on how long we're planning on dieting. So like if someone has a lot of fat to lose and they're planning on doing this for 16 or more weeks, I'll usually pre-plan one in around like week 8, 10, or 12 or something like that, where the research has shown that by using intermittent dieting, so a 1 to 2 week diet break where you're eating at maintenance calories or even slightly above for a short period of time, you're able to then lose more fat coming out of it. Actually, like lose more fat
Mm.
coming out of it. That's actually going to change things physiologically, but it has to be a minimum of like a week long for it to do anything. So whether you choose to pre-program these in or not, or just take them intuitively, it doesn't really matter. I just try to have them be at least a week long in length. If you do, you do anything differently or have anything
I do
along
have a
those
little
lines?
different approach. First off, I'm going to see how my client's doing psychologically with their diet. How diet fatigued are they? I've had one client who he just had at week 3. He was like, I'm so hungry. I'm like so tired. He had like a higher body fat percentage. Like, he was stressing out about the diet and whatever. And I was like, okay, let's take 3 days of a refeed, and then I want you to go back on the diet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I will do. I don't ever schedule weekly refeeds, biweekly, whatever. I don't ever schedule refeed days or whatever. I will go off of how my client is feeling for an extended period of time, what they're expressing to me psychologically, mainly how they're feeling in terms of hunger levels, and because I don't want my client to fall off the wagon
Mm-hmm.
because of hunger. Adherence is king.
Yep.
What I will always do though is if somebody is doing a long-term diet, because if you're doing a mini cut, I would only add in like the reactive ones for like your psychology.
Yeah.
There's no need to do a diet break.
You might
Um,
even be able to get away with none at all, depending on how short your mini cut is.
I would, if you're doing 8 weeks, I would, which is like 10 weeks is like the maximum. Like if you're doing an 8 to 10 week mini cut, which I think is like the longest like a mini cut can really go for. It's a full on cut,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I would do probably like a 5 day refeed, like in the middle, or like maybe more towards the end. But
Mm-hmm.
how I always prefer to do it for clients is I like to have it align with their deload.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want them to produce that fatigue. I want their glycogen to be repleted. I want them to feel really good, really motivated about training and the diet again coming back. So I can have the whole purpose of deload to just drop fatigue. I would like to have my client stick to the diet more, have their dieting periods be as often as possible in terms of time spent in them, and incorporating those. I can also help motivate the client have like an end goal of I can train hard. I had this diet hard. I have this
Mm-hmm.
diet break. Um, but like so like a diet break is just a week at maintenance calories or even slightly above. Steve Hall calls them he doesn't call them a diet break. He like calls shoot. You know what I'm talking about? Steve Hall from Revive Stronger. He doesn't call them a
Yeah.
diet break. Oh,
Mm,
he calls them a deficit break or something
okay.
instead, because like a lot of people think a diet break and like, okay, now I can eat like pizza whatever. I'm like, nope, you
Oh
can
yeah,
eat like
yeah,
300 calories more and do less cardio. Like what?
yeah.
That's all I can. I'm like, yep, no, that's a diet break. And they're like, wait, what? This is seriously all you got? I'm like, yep,
That's that.
this is what you
Yeah,
get.
and that's why we also distinguish between refeeds and cheat days because that has a
If you're
huge
going to do like a
difference.
cheat day,
Just don't do
why
it.
would you do a cheat day
Don't
in
do a cheat
fat
day.
loss phase?
Yeah, don't.
I don't care what your fitness influencer friend is doing. That's just stupid.
Don't. No, that's why we distinguish
Like
between the two.
after like maybe like after a long dieting phase, and it's like, yeah, who cares, go have
Yeah.
fun, like it's not going to do much to you.
Yeah.
Definitely Buttermore is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
But I would, if you're going to do it, and like just know that you are setting yourself back a little
Yeah.
bit.
And I know some people would be like, "Well, what's the difference? Aren't you increasing calories in both?" And it's a yes,
Cheat days is like I'm going to eat
cheat,
the whole entire kitchen sink and then
yeah,
some, and eat 10,000 calories. Just like a refeed is like maintenance or slightly above.
yeah. It's a refeed is very controlled versus the cheat day is not. And also with the refeed, you're biasing specifically carbohydrate increase versus the cheat day. It's all these super highly palatable foods,
High
aka
fat,
lots of fat and carbs as well.
no
So
protein, no gains,
yeah, no,
lots of fat gains. That's about it.
lots of fat gains. Yeah.
Lots of fat and water. Actually, not even fat and water. That was slightly miss in
We're
informative, but
exaggerating, but
yeah,
yeah,
we're just trying to make it seem as stupid as possible because this is as stupid as it is.
yeah, we're exaggerating. If you do have a cheat day, you're not gonna really gain much fat
Your
after
diet
it.
isn't over. Hop back on the horse. You're fine, dude. That's like nothing, and that's like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that's mainly my approach with it. I think that a well thought out diet should incorporate
definitely.
those strategies, discuss them with your coach. So he wants
Mm-hmm.
you to do. Um, you can do high and low days and kind of have like refeeds like that. I personally don't like that. I think it overcomplicates things for most.
Agreed.
And it makes those low days really, really, really suck. Those
Agreed.
high days,
And I think the one thing that people don't, I think there's a good and bad thing to it. I mean, on the good side, it's like you can bias your high days on your hard training days where you need them most, which is a good thing.
doesn't really matter though.
But yeah, and it doesn't. And the bad thing, and I think the con that outweighs that is on don't forget that on your low days you're having less calories and less substrate to help you recover,
Exactly.
so you're gonna go into that workout that day and the day after not being as replenished. So I
Again, like guys, there are benefits and drawbacks of each of them. If
mm-hmm,
you are if you want to do it, then look into it. We're not going to delve into it because we don't really support it. Um, but look into it and see if it's for you. Blah blah blah. So yeah, I think that's basically about as much as we wanted to cover.
I think so too.
Kevin, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that was a good thing. And I think if you guys just implement everything, not, let me rephrase that. If you guys take what we've outlined here, pick what you think you can implement into your own plan, I think you'll be able to get away with a lot of practical takeaways that will help you maintain and gain strength and muscle during your cut. We're not saying that you have to do all these things, and you don't have to do all these things, definitely not. But we're talking about optimality here again, and you should pick and choose what's going to work and fit in with your life and utilize that. And if you are on the side of I want to do things as best as possible, then here you go. This is the blueprint to doing that. But if that is not you, and that's perfectly great if that's not you, just pick and choose what you want to utilize here. And just remember, and this goes for everyone, just remember to be brilliant at the basics. And that alone is going to allow for most of your success.
I honestly don't have anything to say after that.
All right.
Just make sure that you guys are smart. Take away what is practical for you, what you can apply, and happy dieting. If you guys are interested, Kevin and I do offer coaching, and it's affordable pricing. So I'll link Kevin's Instagram down in the bio. Make sure to follow him. He has a ton of informative content. Follow me. Shoot me a DM if you want to work with me or whatever. We try to be as active in DMs as possible with ones that are relevant. If you got. So.
Yeah. And if you guys enjoyed it, leave a comment down below, give it a like, share it out.
Show your dog.
Yeah.
Dogs like science.
Fact.
Especially if your dog's overweight. Anyways.
All right.
You guys.
Peace, guys.